So today we will discuss another important topic, steps in formulating a research problem. That what are the different steps which are involved while formulating a research problem or research question. The research problem and the research question, you know that this is the most important and first step of the research process. So the research problem or research question should be formulated in a sequential order. Means that there are various steps involved while a researcher select a research problem. But it is important that before deciding about the research area or before formulating a research problem, two things are very important. One, have the desired knowledge in particular area. Second, the interest of the researcher in that particular area. So these 2 points are very important for the researcher. The first step while formulating a research problem is to distinguish broader area of the research. Always select broader area for the research purposes. So the first step while formulating a research problem is to select major area. Remember, this area must be relevant to the professional area of the researcher, or the area must be relevant to the field of the specialization. So decide about the subject area in which the researcher have enough knowledge and interest. As we have already discussed, that the research is actually the part of the academic degree. So it must be the major subject must be relevant to the field of the specialization. For example, the student of zoology must select the area which is relevant to the field of zoology. Let's take an example that for the research topic, one select the subject animal behavior. However, you can select any field of specialization. You can select entomology, you can select parasitology, you can select wildlife, fisheries, you can select any type of research area which is relevant to the field of zoology. Let's take an example that we select animal behavior is a broader area or the major area for the research purposes. So in second step, dissect the subject area into sub area. For example, animal behavior is still a broad subject area. So the researcher needs to dissect or further classify that major area into further sub areas. So in step 2, the major area must be divided into sub areas. For example, animal behavior is the major area. So animal behavior can be further classified into various subclasses like animal society or social behavior. This is related to, this is a portion of the animal behavior. Parental care is a part of the animal behavior. Animal migration, animal communication is the part of the animal behavior. Chronobiology and reproductive behavior. So in second step, the broader area must be classified into sub areas. And step 3, select a research question. Select one research area. Select one research area. So in the above sub area, it is important that the researcher must select one sub area for the research process. He can select social behavior, they can also select parental care, they can select animal migration, animal communication. But remember that always select one sub area for the research project. Let's suppose we select animal society or social behavior for the research project. So after selecting a research area, step 4 is to raise a research question or formulate research question. So in fourth step, it is important that the researcher must select research question in the field of, in the area of animal society or social behavior. But here 2 things are very important. Once you have selected a sub area for the research study, then visit and search for the literature. This is very important. For the selection of research question or for the identification of research gap, you should go to the literature, and after extensive literature review, The researcher must identify a research gap, and then after that they will select a research question or formulate objectives. For example, after extensive survey of the literature review, the researcher must decide about the area for the research, like what is the association between group animals which are living and group with the predation risk. So this is the area for the research. So here the researcher must formulate research question. So in fourth step, researcher must formulate research question. The possible research question in the above field may be, do animals living in large groups experiences greater predation? So this may be a research question. Or what are the anti-predator benefits of group living in colonial web building spiders? This is another type of research question. Is there any effects of group size on the predation risk in crab spider? This may be another type of research question. Or do animals living in larger group are more resistant to predators than the smaller group? This is another type of research question. So the fourth step, the researcher must identify a research question after selecting a sub area of the research, and then after performing extensive literature review, they have to identify the research gap and then formulate research questions. After formulating a research question in step 5, the researcher must formulate objectives. So in the above question, the possible objectives may be to measure the relationship between group size and predation risk in crab spider. This should be the possible objectives. To measure, to assess. As we have already discussed that actually objective gives direction to the researcher. So uh, here, the objective is to measure the relationship between group size and predation risk in crab spider. Here, the direction is the researcher actually want to investigate the relationship between animals living in group to the predation risk. Or we can also formulate an objective to investigate the role of and the relationship between group size and the and predation risk in the field and the laboratory setup. So this is another type of objective. So in step 5, you will formulate objectives, and you know that in the previous lecture we have discussed that objectives should be always started from these words: to measure, to investigate, to find out, to study. So these type of words may be used. After formulating after research objective, in this step there is assessment of the objectives. This is another important step while formulating a research problem or research topic: assessment of the objective. Always assess objectives in terms of time frame, available resources, and financial resources. These are very important. Time frame means that how much time the researcher have for the research project. For example, if they have 6 months, so always formulate such objectives which are easily completed within the time period, the specified time period. Available resources means that whether instruments which will be used for data collection is available or not. This is also important. Literature is also important, whether the data or the literature is available, or the secondary data is available or not. If the literature is not available, then it will be quite difficult for the researcher during the write-up phase of the research project. Financial resources, that whether the researcher have the financial resources or not. So always assess the objectives in light of these terms: time frame, how much time have the researcher for this type of research project, availability of resources, whether the instrument which will be used for data collection is available or not, whether the required literature is available or not, whether the financial sources, if any, is available or not. The last step is double check, or it means checking again. So it means that all revise all the step carefully again and again. Like for example, the area which have identified by the researcher whether they have the interest and enough knowledge in that area. Second step, the sub area which the major area which is divided into sub area, whether they have interest in that area again and again. So it double check means check all the step again and again. Select one research area, so check again whether the social behavior the researcher actually have the interest in the area of the social behavior or not. Whether the research question which have formulated, either they are agree or not, and the objectives which are formulated by the researcher. So assess these objective again and again in the light of these terms: time frame, available resources, and financial resources. So it's mean by double check or checking again and again. So these are the important steps while formulating a research topic. Thank you.